Merry meet everyone, and welcome back to My Pagan Life as always, as well as to a new episode of A Bit of a Rant. I don't know what all this stuff is. Now, all you wonderful people, today we'll be discussing a topic that's fairly controversial within the pagan community. So, all I have to say to you is, get ready. Alright guys, here's today's question. Should you curse or should you bless? I mean it when I say that I had a pretty hard time trying to figure out what I should title this video, so I decided to just keep it simple, stupid, and yeah, let's just see where it takes us. But you can't make a video and talk about something without a little bit of background, so let's start off with some of that. Witchcraft, plainly speaking, is a broad subject. The very nature of witchcraft itself leaves a lot of room for speculation and questioning. One of the very common, yet big and controversial topics happens to be, is doing baneful magic okay? And when I say baneful magic, which is actually a term I've picked up fairly recently, I'm talking about what you usually would associate with so-called black magic. Magic performed with the intention of causing harm or destruction. Banishing and binding magic, or at the very least banishing magic, can fall under this category. I would say protection magic is borderline baneful magic, as it can easily be twisted to be used for bad. And last but certainly not least, there's the good old cursing and hexing. Most of us can agree that cursing and hexing is indeed baneful magic, but just not everybody feels the same way about it. And I'm gonna be honest, yes, I'm a Wiccan, I have the Wiccan Rede and the threefold law as the foundation of my practice. I don't curse, I don't hex, I personally do not practice magic in such a way that causes deliberate harm. Alright, this is where the name-calling begins! Okay, seriously though. According to my experience, what I just said is the exact reason why a lot of pagans look down on us Wiccans. And this is an assumption I'm making, mind you. After all, I've been accused of being a fluff bunny more times than I can count. By people in the same community as me. Because of my beliefs as a Wiccan, I have multiple times found myself being accused of shunning the darker aspects of life, or for just being plain unrealistic. And sure, I'm not gonna stand here and say that this isn't true for some Wiccans, but I'd like to share my view and experience and try to explain why I believe some of these claims that are being made aren't necessarily true, or at least don't apply to all pagans that think the same way as I do. And so I will start by stating my two main reasons for not hexing or cursing, which is why I also want you to know that what I'm about to say is simply my opinion. Feel free to disagree with any of the points I'm about to bring up, just know that I'm trying to explain this from my perspective. Anyway, over to my reasoning. Number one, I don't think it's necessary to wish ill will upon somebody else or to curse or hex something. Secondly, I don't want to attract more negativity to me. My first reason has to do with necessity. Do you have to curse or hex, and what do you have to gain? You know what? Let's use an example. Let's say that someone has done you wrong and it has left a scar. Now, instead of cursing that person, what about blessing yourself or the situation, or even that bastard, to make the situation better? Of course, this doesn't mean you have to sit back and watch the other person walk away without having to take responsibility for their actions. You have rights, and you are allowed to set things right. However, and this is my opinion, you also have to take responsibility in that situation, because the moment you decide upon a course of action, it will define you. How it will affect or define you depends on the situation and how you look at it. It can be that the intention you're trying to manifest will come back to you, as is the case with the threefold law, or it can simply boil down to the way you appear as a person. Long story short, it is in your best interest to consider the consequences of your actions. Just because you feel like doing something doesn't mean it's necessary or that it will even help you in the end. And if performing baneful magic like cursing and hexing isn't necessary in a situation, then my question becomes, What are you willing to risk for that one encounter? Are you willing to take the consequences of that cursing or hexing? That said, all of this kind of leads me to my next point, which is I don't wish to attract more negativity to me. Here's another belief of mine. Our world is a place of both light and dark, as well as all the shades in between. As such, I choose to seek the light, the good things and good people in this world. My reason being, I'm well aware of the dark. I acknowledge its existence, and I accept its presence in my life. And let me just put it this way. Hadn't it been for the dark, I wouldn't be seeking the light in the first place. This is the realistic thing to do in my opinion, because you can't shun it. You can't avoid darkness. Convincing yourself that darkness in all its shapes and forms doesn't exist is not only unrealistic, but it's dangerous. Because the fact of the matter is, it's there, whether you like it or not. To make a long story short, again, striving to do the right or good thing, or just trying not to harm or to seek harm, does not equate to shunning the dark or being naive. All I'm doing is not inviting more negativity, more darkness into my life. And can I get real for a second? Life is hard enough as it is already. Even at the age of 17, I've experienced my fair share of pain, sorrow, and even downright darkness. And I know for a fact that there's more to come. There's no escaping it. That's the human condition. So knowing this, why would I let more darkness consume me? I do try my best to deal with the dark that does enter my life in a constructive way, but I don't enforce or encourage it. So those were basically my reasons. Now, when all is said and done, you may argue that cursing or hexing doesn't lead to anything bad happening to you. Or you might argue that cursing or hexing sometimes is the only way. Heck, maybe you believe cursing or hexing isn't that bad in the first place. To you, I would like to ask, why is that? I'm curious. If there's one thing I want all of you guys to take away from this video, it's this. How you choose to live your life is completely up to you, but I personally choose to seek out the good, acknowledge the bad as part of my reality, and to take it from there. And I can honestly say that I'm proud of that. Casting a spell, no matter what the intention, involves you, the practitioner, fully and completely. When casting a spell, you're exposing yourself in some way to whatever it is you're trying to manifest, in my opinion. And honestly, guys, I could go on and on about this for a long time, but to keep it simple and straightforward, I'll end it right here. Whether you agree or disagree with me, feel free to share your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. And remember, guys, my question from earlier still remains. Should you curse? Or should you bless? Or is there more to it? I'd love to hear your take on the subject. Other than that, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more videos every Monday on My Pagan Life. Blessed be, everyone!